Hey there, ladies and gents. This is Dan with Adventure Today. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you subscribing, clicking that bell, and sharing with your friends if anybody is looking to buy some tires for their truck. Now, I've got a 2017 Ford Super Duty. It's a Lariat with the Power Stroke. And I've got 68,000 miles on this truck, and this is my second set of tires. Now, these trucks came from the factory with Michelin LTX AT2 tires. I've done a review on those tires also. I've talked about the pros and the cons just really quickly with those original tires on the truck, the OEM tires. They're considered to be off-road tires, although they're more of a highway tire, right? So you can have tires, a highway tire that's more aggressive or one that's more conservative. Same thing with off-road tires. You can have tires that are more aggressive or tires that are more conservative. Well, those LTX AT2s are more conservative. They are more geared towards a highway tire than they are an off-road tire. So from the factory where you've got people going on test drives, Ford wants a quiet, smooth riding tire that just kind of fades out into the background, because that's what sells trucks. And they're good tires. They're really good for towing. They're smooth on the highway. They're pretty good against hydroplaning and so forth. They're not that great in the snow. They're not that great in the mud and the sand and the grass and the wintry, snowy, icy conditions and so forth. They're not that great with that. But in the dry and in the rain, and when you're towing, they're actually a pretty decent tow tire. But for an off-road tire, they're not really an off-road tires, which is why I wanted something a little bit more aggressive. Now, we do tow a travel trailer, and I don't want to do a lift or go way crazy on big oversized tires and so forth. I want to keep it pretty close to stock. So stock is 275 65 20 for my 20-inch tires. These are 285 65 20, so they're just 5 millimeters wider across the tread on each side. So they're really, really close to factory, but it is about 1.5% difference when driving. So if you're making an adjustment for miles per gallon, you got to make that adjustment about 1.5% at the pump if you really want to get an accurate mile per gallon. So, but they make the truck look it's just got a little bit of a beefier look to it, which I like. But I went with these Cooper Discoverer XLT AT3 tires, and I love them. They have just been absolutely fantastic. So I've got the camera pretty much lined up in there where I want it. Now, I want to talk to you about these tires. Now, again, I've got 30,000 miles on these tires, and they have really, really been good. So I've got a digital tire gauge here that might be a little bit tough to read. So you just got to trust me on a few things I'm going to be telling you here. But in the middle, we've got about 8. This one is measuring at about 930 seconds of tread depth, maybe 8 here. These are measuring at 8. This one's 8, this one's 9. So they're all like really, really close. And so, that's quite a bit of tread depth left, considering these had 1630 seconds when they were new. And remember, with tires, those first 5 or 6 30 seconds wear down really, really quickly. And so, these tires probably have another 20 to 30,000 miles on them, somewhere in that range. Maybe a little more conservative, maybe say 15 to 20,000 miles, which really wouldn't be too bad, considering that I do tow quite a bit, and we don't do a lot of off-roading, and you can probably see that in the tread. I mean, the tread just doesn't have many nicks and chunks out of it or anything like that. But boy, these tires are quiet on the highway. They look aggressive because they've got a little bit more of this chunkier sidewall on them. The XLTs have this. They give you this chunkier sidewall. But I'll tell you, there's some other things that Cooper does that some tire manufacturers don't do that you really need to pay attention to when purchasing tires. Now, Michelin doesn't do what I think is one of the most important features in tires, and that's the siping, because especially in the snow or in the mud and things like that, this siping really helps you out to get grip. And on the Michelins, some of that siping disappears really early in the tread. And so you lose out on that. Now it's there for the beginning. Those tires weren't really that good even in the beginning in the sloppy conditions. But when you lose that siping, they just get worse. Well, not with Coopers. Now my electronic tread gauge, the measuring device in here is a little bit too thick. So I went to make this video here. I went and bought one of these slimes. This is a great company. You can buy these things at AutoZone, and they do a really good job. But if I stick this slime into any of these sipes, it's showing that that is 5/30 seconds of sipe left on this tire. So if this is let's say 8 or 9 30 seconds from the top of the tread down to the carcass, then that sipe will get you all the way down to about 3 or 4 30 seconds, which is when you should be replacing the tires anyway. So full depth sipes, which is just fantastic. And so when you go looking for tires, I really recommend you asking whoever's selling you the tires, whether it's Discount Tire or Tire Rack or a local provider that you have, ask them about the sipes, because once those sipes start to disappear, you do give up grip. And some tire manufacturers don't do full depth sipes like Cooper does. And so, I think that's a really important aspect of the tire. Okay. A couple other aspects of these tires, just little bits of technology that they built into the tire that I think is really important. And I'm going to do my best so you can see this. But do you see these little grooves that are right here that are between the outside shoulder tread blocks? They go all the way around the tire. You can see them. They go all the way around the tire. Those are actually noise blocking. That's noise blocking technology. So most of the noise that you hear on tires, especially those big, maximum traction tires that you can hear them almost every day going down the highway, all that rumbling that you hear is coming from the big chunky tread blocks. And when you've got let's say 5 ribs on this tire, most of that sound is coming from the inside aspect of the tire. Well, these are sound blockers, and they do a great job at blocking the vast majority of the noise and getting into the outside world and up into the cabin and so forth. So a lot of the tire manufacturers are adding this. Not everybody is using it, but it doesn't cost the tire manufacturer much to include that technology in there, but it does make a big difference in sound. If you want a tire that you can't hear from inside the cab too much, this is great. These tires fade into the background. When you're going down the highway, all you can really hear is a little bit of wind going by the mirrors on this truck. And I've got the Power Stroke diesel. I mean, it's really nice and quiet on the inside. Okay, so that's the first, or maybe the second piece of technology that I think is really, really interesting. The next one is, if you can see that these tread blocks have got these extra little pieces of rubber in them. There's a little bit wider down near the bottom. It's almost like they're stair-stepped. And so that just, as the tire wears down, it's just providing even more rubber to meet the road as the tire is wearing down to help them last longer. They don't have to do that. Maybe that provides a little bit more stability to the tread blocks when the tread blocks are, when the tire's brand new, that wider base. And that's probably the main reason why it's in there. These blocks are also connected here in between them on each one of the tread blocks. They're connected there in the middle. Again, another feature to provide a little more stability to the overall tread block. It's probably there to create some more stability in the tread block and help against squirming and so forth when the tires are brand new. But the extra added benefit is it's extra rubber as the tire is wearing down, that the tires will last longer because you just got more rubber to wear out, right? So anyway, so those, from a performance perspective, those are probably the 3 biggest pieces of technology I can share with you. Now, the tread design and how the shapes, the blocks are shaped and so forth, there's probably some advantages of one tire over another. I think it's probably, you could argue one way or another on probably any tire out there. I don't know if there's any dramatic difference. That tread design does make a difference. I mean, don't get me wrong, but all these off-road tires have really well engineered tread blocks. and I don't know if any one tire has a massive advantage over another. I think where, you know, the biggest advantages come from are the siping. And as long, you know, like this tire won't do as well as a maximum traction, just fully dedicated off-road tire, because these blocks aren't as aggressive as those. But this tire will do a lot better than a highway tire off-road, because these tread blocks are blockier. So maybe the more blockier the tread blocks are, the better you're going to do off-road, like in the mud and in the wet grass and things like that. But the beauty of these Coopers is the balance. You've got to think about that, in my opinion, is the balance. If you're spending all of your time off-road, if 90% of your miles are off-road and you're worried about getting stuck out in the middle of nowhere, you know, don't buy these tires. Go buy a maximum traction, you know, the Cooper STs or something like that. Go buy something like that. But if you're like me, you're doing maybe a little bit of off-road, you're doing mainly highway driving and towing, but you don't want the look of a highway tire. You want something a little bit more aggressive, then this is a great way to go. So, you know, I did not clean up these tires at all. I'm sorry about that. But if I were to clean the lettering on here, they look like they're brand new. So the Cooper's done a really good job just incorporating all the proper technology and materials and so forth to keep these tires fresh over long haul. This truck sits outside 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. It's constantly exposed to the sun and all the elements that Mother Nature throws at us. And the tires just look really, really good. They're chunky. They perform well. You know, try to give you some angles here. It's kind of hard to see from that one, but I like them. I get a lot of compliments on the tires because they are just slightly bigger than stock. But not overly too big, you know. They just look good and they perform well. So anyway, that's a little review on the Coopers. I like them so much better than the Michelins that came on the truck. I love the fact that these are made in the United States of America, especially with everything going on right now with the virus. Me and my wife have made the decision we're going to make every effort to buy products that are made in the United States. And so if that matters to you, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I'm not going to make a judgment call on that. You got to make your own personal decision. Coopers are made in the USA. I'm buying some Coopers next time around also. Not just because they're made in the USA, but because they're actually really, really, really good tires. They perform well, they're quiet, they're priced right, they look good, and they've got a broad array of styles to meet almost anybody's needs. This video is not sponsored by Cooper. I've never talked to anybody at Cooper. I don't know anybody at Cooper. I just like Cooper tires. I just wanted to share my experience with you on that. So anyway, thanks for being here today. Again, be sure to subscribe and share with your friends. If anybody's looking for tires, you know, let them know about this video. Maybe this will help them out. And if you have any questions, let me know, and we will talk to you real soon. Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye.
Show me a way to